3 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late at night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy Thursday. It is back to winter over here in Utah. Holy cow, I think we've got the most snow we've had all winter. The sun is out now, thankfully, but man, it dumped on us today. Crispy, your window's up. Crispy, come back. He's not listening. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. Just looking at chat here. Somebody said something about Letitia Stouch. I never really covered the case on the channel, but obviously followed it, and God, what a terrible woman and case. But that is wild. Is that like some kind of technicality or something? I guess I could look that up, but yeah, I just got an email about that. Let's see. There. Man, 90 degrees in Texas. Woo! I don't know. Do I want 90 degrees or 50s out here? It's kind of a catch-22. But on an appeal. Wow, that's crazy. That was like a slam dunk. Anyway. Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that. She's getting a new trial because one of the jurors' son. Oh my gosh. So it was technicality. Oh my gosh. That's so dumb. Wow. I mean, what a waste of taxpayers' money. So dumb. Anyway. Speaking of dumb. Got this idiot up here. But God bless his soul at the same time. He's the gift that keeps on giving. As we can see in my thumbnail. All right. So today you could kind of count it as part 3 of our little journey of figuring out the 3M video, which I am surprised if the Nancy Guthrie case wasn't so big, I swear I think this would be up there, being covered by other big true crimers. In my opinion, I really do think this case could break at any point. And there's more. We're learning like every day. It is wild. There was so much back, that we learned in the day, just little tidbits and rumors, little pieces. And if you're a Patreon, and if you watch the video I put out today, then you probably heard some of those tidbits. But yeah, there's little things that we'll get into later on in the video, that give even more details about kind of what happened in the 3 a.m. Time frame and things that were said. But I think, kind of it was kind of like either telephone game or just didn't know how those little puzzle pieces fit. And now they're slowly starting to piece together. And you guys know that I've worked on this 3M video for way too long. And, it's like working with, one arm tied behind your back because, we don't have the full video like law enforcement does. So we can only work with what's, been either leaked or put out by Nick Barris. And then, of course, God bless Fish Sticks and crew as well, because they've been a big help. And yeah. Yeah, Moose. I think our best chance would be FBI. That whole saying, how they repeated the flashlight theory. Remember Mr. and Mrs. E Crimecast kind of went over like, I don't think it was actual agent that wrote that. I think that was just all kind of like a collage of everything that they just posted. Sadly, probably wasn't vetted, some of that. I don't know. But there was an agency out there that I believe could make a difference, would be the FBI. At least with this one. But let's get into it. Let's see. I know, I had the AC running. Now I've got the heater running. That's Utah. That's when you live in a high, higher up in the elevation. We'll probably, it'll turn back. We'll skip spring usually here in Utah. That's how it works. We kind of have I don't know, a late winter and then a short spring, and then it goes back to winter, and then all of a sudden it's summer. Something like that. But let's get going. All right, starting a little late. I do apologize. Let's start off here with our good friend Fish Sticks here. We're going to poke at. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Obviously, he's attacked me on Twitter more times than I can count. But, he always takes, screenshots of my thumbnails or titles, and one of them this is in reference to his what I call the 1-year anniversary con, how he literally made up saying that there's a sighting of Sebastian when he knew there wasn't. It wasn't Sebastian. It was just the neighbor walking his dog, and I called him out on it. And anyway, he goes on. Oops, here. To say his source, Bobby, he thinks I only have one source. There's more than one source. But if you want to believe that, that's fine. Goes on to say, if you keep poking me, I'm going to, let's see, where is it? Talks about like flashlight tag that, because Bobby's children used to play flashlight tag. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But trying to, combine those two with the flashlight video and that the neighbor's teenage son had something to do with his disappearance. It's absolutely disgusting. And then finishes up by saying, if you keep provoking me, keep calling me liars, I'm gonna release some stuff.
Video that the family of Sebastian Rogers believes could be a break in the case. Sebastian has been missing almost 1 year now. His mother and stepfather, so that's Katie and Chris Proudfoot, have hired a private investigator to look into this case. And he has been scouring hundreds of hours of surveillance video. He says he has found video that could really be something. It could possibly, he says, it could be Sebastian. He says it shows this person who comes out in the neighborhood and then hides behind a vehicle.
That's the best part. Because, and again, I know I've gone over this, but there's a reason something will come full circle on. But remember, there's only one person as they're walking their dog, but he claims that there was somebody hiding behind a car, which there wasn't.
When a person walking a dog walks nearby and then comes.
And he admits that the person is walking their dog. And then there's a guy hiding behind the car. It's hilarious.
Back out.
Anyway, I called bullshit and all that. And I just want to read this last part because it's just hilarious. Let me be clear. If you keep calling me a liar, there's additional suspicious activity that took place even later that night after 12/17. So go ahead, Mob Crew and Bobby, press us. Call us liars again. Yeah, you're a fucking liar. Then we'll discuss the search that took place at the son's girlfriend's house. No, that never took place at all. Absolute lie. Calling you out on it. Bring proof. You effing liar. You piece of dog. And then he shows a screenshot. All right. I had to bring this up. And what was it? Oh my God, they're playing. Oh my God, he's Lauren Sebastian. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh wait, no. Oh no, he's not Lauren Sebastian. Oh, it's Fluffy. Oh, it's Fluffy. He's just bringing in Fluffy. And of course, Fluffy wants to play around for a minute. And then he brings him in. And then, of course, I called him out on it because he didn't even actually watch the video. And I wish I have the screenshot where he says, well, I bet he didn't even take the cat in. Yeah. He literally picks up the cat and carries him in. Absolute nonsense. What a joke. I just had to, but there he is. He's kind of waiting for the cat to, come up. Now he's got the cat. He's going to bring him in. But anyway, my reaction.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Yeah, but anyway, there's additional suspicious activity that took place later that night. So go ahead, Mob Crew and Bobby, call us liars again. And then we're going to release a footage of a teenage boy bringing in his cat.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Jeez, Louise. Anyway, clown. We're going to come back to him because he is the gift that keeps on giving. So quickly, we'll go over the quick first 2 days. But I promise you, we're going to go over the 3 a.m. video. And I don't know people again, but I'm going to add more to it than we have. So it's like, again, this is kind of like part 3. And I promise you, some of these things, I'm curious to see what if you guys remember hearing some of these things that I'm going to bring up. But I promise you, it's very interesting, and it's starting to put a picture together on things. So I promise you, this is going to be a good show. I'm thinking maybe Saturday we'll dip into the Nancy Guthrie case just to kind of change things up. But again, it just blows my mind that this case isn't taken off. Like, breaking the 3 a.m. video should be, in my opinion, big. Just for Sebastian's sake and Seth, just to get the word out there. But I am working on a short video with more details. Hopefully it'll be done by tomorrow. But yeah, all right, let's play this so I can read chat. And yeah, we're also going to add in a little bit of Katie here before we get into the 3M video as well. I got a couple of things to play, highlights. So here we go, full screen real quick. Be right back. Please, if you can, hit that like button, and then we'll read chat here in just a second.
On February 26th, Sebastian Rogers was declared missing and endangered, but on the next day, on the 27th, they escalated his case to Amber Alert status. Why?
This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
And we need to start with that breaking news right now. An Amber Alert has just been issued for missing Hendersonville teenager Sebastian Rogers.
In this video, I'm going to prove what caused the Amber Alert and why it's still active. I will back this up with literally one of the biggest clues many people have missed, and why certain family members and law enforcement agencies don't want you to know about this giant clue that was there all along. Welcome and get comfortable. You are now watching The Mob Crew. In this video, I'm going to prove what caused the Amber Alert, and literally crush and end certain ongoing debates with a clue that is so big they don't want you to know. Chapter 1. From missing and endangered to Amber Alert. Just after Rogers was reported missing on day 1, law enforcement was seen, looking for any surveillance footage around the neighborhood of Rogers. Law enforcement would soon find out that one home did indeed capture something on the early morning hours of the 26th. That home was located here, and what they captured would become infamously known as the 3 a.m. lights. And on the next day, February 27th, sometime during the afternoon, the TBI would post that an Amber Alert was issued in the Rogers case, based on additional investigative information. This was certainly no coincidence.
Alert. And we need to start with that breaking news right now. An Amber Alert has just been issued for missing Hendersonville teenager Sebastian Rogers.
Officials tell me Sebastian Rogers is an autistic 15-year-old with glasses, dirty blonde hair, and was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt and sweatpants around midnight Sunday night.
Definitely increases the volatility of the situation. The medicine was there, obviously, to treat his autism. So how he responds to that once the medicine is out of his system is really not my expertise. But I do know that it's going to have a negative effect on him.
Here are the criterias needed for an Amber Alert: confirmed abduction, imminent danger, targeted information, and age requirement. That's right, confirmed abduction is one of the main criterias for an Amber Alert, and it's still active. It would be commonly known as the flashlight video.
Okay, so let me put myself back in there. Blue Third, thank you so much. Let's get him home. I'm hoping this year will be the year. South Oz, the gift that keeps on giving. SF is a joke. Thank you, Chris. It is my pleasure. And yeah, I'm praying this year. Somebody told me that it was the Autism Awareness Day today. Back at my check. Yeah, so if anybody didn't know, it is World Autism Awareness Day. So, because I was kind of debating on whether to kind of take a break and go to Savannah Guthrie and then kind of come back, but I thought, I guess this was good timing to have the autism awareness. Kat, where's Coffin Dapper been on this case? I think I've noticed she's made a lot of, it seemed like she was making the rounds a lot during, what case was it? Riley Strand, that one, and another one, and then yeah, she kind of disappeared as far as like being on national news, and then she covered this case, but wasn't really, out there in the spotlight. And then I've noticed she's kind of popped up with the Savannah Guthrie case. So I think she's probably, again, I'm just assuming she's probably out there on, focused on that case. Geneva, thank you so much. Great work. Much love. I know. The Office is the best. I love Steve Carell. Okay, so it did, yeah. Autism Awareness this month. Awesome. All right.
And it sparked heavy speculation, so much so that eventually, law enforcement would claim that it was garbage truck lights, and Sheriff Craddock would give us the best quote of my generation.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why? And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
Reports that say there's that
in this case or another case
hasn't happened are always interesting to me, because as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
All right. Before we get to the 3 a.m. video, and I
Chapter
promise you
3,
I've got
The Unknown Unknown, 3 a.m. car. So what really caused the Amber
pieces of information to add in. I wanted to just take some snippets of Katie's interview, and part of it is there's one main thing that I wanted to grab from her quote, and this is on the 2-year anniversary. But man, going over that interview, it blows my mind what she says, and I just couldn't help myself
Say to him, if he were to walk through that door.
Grab some highlights from it. So 3 to 4 minutes, just clipped down from, I think it's like a 20-minute interview, and there was like 4 questions and answers that I'm gonna play. Some of them are shortened. And anyway, I just had to add this in here. But the main thing is when she goes to the reward, because we'll kind of come back around to that.
I would tell him that.
Oh, yeah. So here, the first question, again, is a little bit of kind of poking the bear as well. So here's one of the questions. Again, 2-year anniversary. So this was, even though it feels like it's been ages, it was only just over a month ago. Yeah. Doesn't feel like it. It feels like longer.
What would you say to him if he were to walk through that door?
So this is what I find interesting. If you just heard her, what would you say to him if he walks through that door? Keep in mind that they're gone for the past year, and if history repeats itself, and which we kind of already know, they're not home most of the time. It seems like they come around wintertime, maybe for the anniversary and the birthday, whatever, and then they're gone. They're gone. So I would like to know what happens when he walks through that door, but he's not going to be able to walk through that door because they're not there.
What would you say to him if he were to walk through that door?
I would tell him that we love you. I would tell him that we miss you so very much. I would tell him to stay strong. I would tell him to hang in there, and that if he ever had the opportunity to reach out and get a safe adult and call 911 if you have to, that we're looking, and we're never going to stop looking, and that.
Yep, I can see you guys have been looking for those sightings that have been off, that have been out there. A lot of sightings. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but interesting sightings. no flyers being handed out. Yep. Out there still looking, huh?
I pray that he's okay and that everyone at home loves you, Sebastian, and everyone wants you to come home. And
yeah, Sarah, exactly.
We're here. We're here.
Nope, that's crispy right there. Windows are up. But yeah, this was recently. With a Nissan Altima 2017-ish. Looks like the 3M car. This particular model wouldn't be. It's close, but it doesn't have the fog lights that are on the lower part of the bumper. This particular model, but with temporary tags. And yeah, nobody's home. Nobody's been home. I don't know from when, but yeah, it seems like they come around for the anniversary and then they are gone. They take the camper and all that. Yeah, so if Sebastian were to walk home, I guess that's why she left that blanket out for him, you know. Mother of the Year.
How long will you keep searching?
Until my last breath. I'll never stop.
It shows.
I'll never stop searching for him.
So, coming up, and again, there's just a couple more things, and I just have to take some jabs. When I was listening to this interview, I kept hearing stuff, and I'm like, I thought it was like coming from like inside my apartment or something. But no, it's in the video. And would you be surprised that there's somebody else real close to Katie? We can't see the person, but can you take a wild guess? And you're going to hear it here in just a second. It's a sound that a certain person makes that we've heard before. And if I had time, I would have grabbed like an example, but yeah, it's coming up here in a minute.
Are different options based off of what we know and what we don't know. More particularly, what we don't know is what makes it more difficult to do that. But
that make you feel
broken. I don't.
Oh, you got that?
Should be living this life. No one. And I know that there are other moms that are going through this with. This going through my son missing has really opened my.
I never caught that before. Oh, so somebody I guess caught that. Okay, I guess I'm late to the party. I didn't know. I mean, of course, it's no surprise. But yeah, because he has that, very obvious cough that he does. Yeah, it's coming up here. I missed that.
Eyes and really made me aware of how. Take 10 seconds to actually look and to actually pay attention and just to, I don't know, like when you're out and you're walking, just take half an eye out to have that awareness of who you're seeing. Because
does that have to be a half a night? Could it be the afternoon, a half a morning? Shouldn't be children be getting.
Any one of these children, including Sebastian, I mean, you could walk by him, and my prayer is that if that happens, that you recognize him and that you know, and that call will come in so that we can find him and all the missing kids.
There you go. Oh, that's a great. Where was it? Oh no. There you go. Bridget, short for Bridget, maybe. Bridgie. Follow your own advice, KK. I love that.
Last update that you received from investigators.
Unfortunately, the updates that we receive are about the same as the public, that they do still get tips and that they do follow up on them. But
Now, reading this 2-year anniversary, they mentioned nothing about still getting tips in. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe there's something else. They say that they follow up on any tips, but they, like in other cases, they'll say, yeah, we're still getting this amount of tips, like in the, with the 2 kids from Canada. They'd say like, yeah, this is about the amount of tips we were getting in the beginning. Now we're kind of down to this amount of tips. I don't see anything in here about still getting tips. Not to say maybe I missed something, but
Unfortunately, there's nothing significant to report at this point that we know of. I know that we don't know everything, but my prayer is that if something significant comes in, that we would know right away.
Now, we know the FBI is offering this $50,000 or up to $50,000 for information, now leading to some.
So I find this interesting, and the answer to this, because now with kind of thinking there's quite a few players involved in this, now makes me kind of explains more why this answer that she's going to give.
Sebastian's whereabouts. So, do you feel that more needs to be offered or something else needs to be done for someone to come forward?
I would hope that it wouldn't take money for someone to come forward in something like this. I'm grateful for the FBI offering that $50,000 reward. I would give anything to have Sebastian home, and unfortunately,
and you could at any moment bring up that reward, but no, you decided to do a fundraiser for autism, whatever. Which great for them, but you had the opportunity. But I think I have a theory. I'm sure people wouldn't be surprised on it.
I think $50,000 should have been, if someone knew something, should have been a very big incentive, but put $1 million up. I know that his Amber Alert is still active as well, but I would like to think that there are people out there with
this, and again, I know this is so wild what she's going to say right here.
But I would like to think that there are people out there with God in their hearts that wouldn't need an incentive to return my son home.
Somebody with God in their heart steals kids. Holy shit.
But if there were, if you need something, ask. Just send him home. Say something.
Do you think someone knows something and they're not saying it?
I pray that if someone knows something that they will call it in, and I don't know if anyone knows something, but if they do, I would plead to please turn it in.
If Sebastian was taken, because again, we don't know exactly what's happened. If he was taken, if he was abducted, what would you say to that person?
Give my son back. Bring him home. Why? What do you want? I would just say, let him go if someone had him. I don't have any evidence that that's the case, but if it is.
I'm showing that evidence right there. It's probably 60, 70 yards from your home.
Let him come home. Let him come home to his family. And anything that we can to encourage people to be aware and help him find.
This is your opportunity to address any of these people, two different scenarios, because I know you were telling me earlier that there are lots of threats that come.
Okay, so trigger warning, or well, I don't know if trigger warning, but yeah, trigger warning, foul language warning. I find this hilarious. We're almost done, and we're going to get to the 3 a.m. and some of the new stuff here. But I find this hilarious about the threats.
Any of these people, two different scenarios, because I know you were telling me earlier that there are lots of threats that come to you guys. Is there?
Let me pause this. Let me go. But yeah. So warning here with the foul language, because we're going to play Crispy here, because she's going to complain about threats, but yeah.
Anything you want to say?
I would say that threats, lies, or misinformation is not helpful. I don't think that it does any good to help.
Get up here. Where you at?
We need to turn the flashlight on for him so he can.
He can find the flashlights on. The only way to get Mob Crew over here is to fucking point flashlights all over the place.
Well, tell him I'll run outside with a flashlight right now if it helps him.
He'll track it down for next year. He'll grift off that fucking flashlight for the next year.
Oh, I'll tell her. Real simple.
I find it hilarious right now. I'm not sure if it's this one here. It's red, so that's $100 donation. So I guess it's okay just to make fun of people and tear other people down. That's okay to do. But then if you actually, be productive with your channel, then you're grifting. Like, make that make sense. It's okay to just tear other people down, make yourself feel better, but then while you get your $100 super chats coming in, and then you call somebody else a grifter, but yet you're not doing anything to be productive. Again, I have no issue, if you want to be a drama channel, people are interested. Who am I to, say otherwise? But, the grifting thing is. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my mic was down. I find it funny that she's got the $100 donation as she's saying grifter. So I guess it's okay to be non-productive and tear everybody else down and make yourself feel better while you're, going, oh, thank you for the $100 donation. Call people grifter, but I guess it's not okay to be productive and try to help with the case and try to study the videos or whatever. So anyway, sorry, I forgot to turn up my thing there.
See that
You
little
chicken
bitch
shit motherfucker. Get your ass off behind your fucking computer. Bring your ass out here and let's go and walk and let's look at where you think what you think you see is.
Oh, I know where it is. I'm going to break it all down again for you. Hope you're watching. I know one of you turkeys are watching.
I'd be more than happy to walk with your ass, but you got to get out behind your fucking keyboard first, bitch.
Well, damn.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You got to get your ass out from behind that goddamn keyboard. That's why you got a stomachache all the fucking time, because you sit there talking shit too much. Get up and walk around.
And I'm very curious. I've heard somebody sent me a thing of that he's trying to raise $1,400 for some
he did. Oh, he
big
raised $2,500.
special thing. Well, just know, and I'm telling you flat out.
We want the fucking receipts.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants. But I'm gonna tell you, just like I've told everybody else, you set foot on my fucking property. One fucking hair. Not only will you be trespassed, but you better pray to God they get here before I can get my hands on you.
Are from.
Oh, man. Anyway, I just couldn't help myself because they bring up, they're getting threats. And That would be, I think, if I recall, that's the third time now being threatened by specifically Mr. Crispy there, and I think they've all evolve around him getting his hands around my neck, if I recall. I know 2 out of the 3 is something like that, but yeah, pretty pathetic. But anyway, how would he know? Because he's not home. I could go be dancing on his lawn tomorrow, and he'd have no idea.
Legitimate sources that information even gets missed or misconstrued and is not always accurate.
Oh, what are you doing back there, Crispy? Making sure she's, not spilling the beans, right? Keeping an eye on her. Yeah, I miss that. I guess clearly I'm late to the party on that. But yeah, throughout this interview, as I was trying to just cut this up just to get the highlights, you can hear him like moving his chair. Sometimes maybe it could be her, but I'm pretty sure it's him. The way the audio where it comes into a certain side. There's Crispy.
For example, like Sebastian's age when he went missing. I've seen places where that's enacted, and I know that it may not be everyone's top priority, but it's mine. It's Sebastian's family, and I would ask and pray that he not be forgotten, and that everyone even if you once a month share his flyer.
The only flyer that I know that you guys put out is this one sitting right there that is crooked half the time. That I think I'm not gonna say anything. Never mind. But yeah, is crooked half the time. They probably didn't even make it. Somebody else probably made it for them.
Just to help me help us keep his name and his face out there, because it's so easy to let it go to the back of your mind because you're going on about your lives, and I understand that life goes on, but for us,
Okay, all right, so let's get to it here. Just had to play a little bit of that, but yeah, I promise you we're getting into the 3M and dive a little bit deeper into some new stuff as well. I promise you it'll be worth the wait. But we got to get a little snarky, and I've got a little more snarky for the end as well. But yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but from multiple sources, I know that they have with the license plate, they have DV on them, which is disabled vet. At least for Crispy's truck, I know. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was for her vehicle as well. Again, apparently, I guess it's not a big thing. I guess you can get it from your doctor, but find it interesting that they got disabled vet. Again, I know they're in the military, but they don't look disabled to me. But yeah, man, I hope they aren't like using that to, take up handicap parking spaces. Man, that'd be pretty low. Since he went missing is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I kind of want to joke, say that to kind of be snarky, but then, not because that, it's kind of a, yeah, but yeah, towards them, yeah, something ain't right with them, and not on the autism spectrum, but anyway. All right, let's get down to the timeline here. But yeah, wouldn't that be disturbing to find out that they're using that stuff so they can, whatever. That's just a joke. Blue Third, thank you so much. Unleash the Snark. We are gonna get on it. I love the title of this live. Yeah, and we will kind of address that. That will be part. It's kind of like towards the 2/3 of the show. So we will swing back over to good old fish sticks because, I'm going to release the snarky because, again, I've learned so much in the past few days from some sources and old sources. And, I am upset, not surprised. And I can't believe they kept this charade going on for this long. Kindly says, keep grifting. Seems to be filling in the blanks. Hello, everyone. I'm always here lurking with my cat. Oh. Patty, law enforcement didn't find it strange that they threaten and get mad that you were trying to help find what happened to Sebastian. Come on now. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if law enforcement. Well, hopefully, some of this stuff will be documented and could be used against them in some way in a court of law. It wouldn't surprise me, actually. Cowgal, good to see you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing. All right, so make sure everything's working good. Okay. So this part a little bit is the speculation part before we get into the parts that we know more. But obviously, we've kind of been back and forth. Did he actually make it home or did he not? And as time has gone on, I now switched over. I would say, I can't say 100% that he didn't make it home, but I feel more confident that he didn't make it home versus that he did. But that doesn't mean that he couldn't have, but there's just a lot of evidence to suggest. But, it all starts with the Texas Roadhouse, which I don't know if you guys remember, at night when they grabbed this Texas Roadhouse footage, this is after Fish Sticks got hired on, and he went in there, pretending to be some kind of law enforcement, and I think Katie was with him, and they made a scene there, flipping out, and that just shows you, why are they so worried about, footage? What if there was, again, in a scenario that they weren't involved in this at all? What if there was, one of these patrons or somebody that came in that was eyeballing Sebastian, and then, an unknown vehicle that happened to be following them that people could help, solve. But I think that just shows you that there's something that they wanted to hide. Obviously, green hoodie, huge discovery, super fishy. I personally think the best candidate, I can't say 100%, would be KK's mother. She does fit the height and the size. Again, I can't say 100%, but boy, she did cut her hair. And she is a RSO, a registered offender. And so every 2 years she has to update. I think this year, right, we're coming up on a new photo of her mother coming out. But yeah, so I think in a scenario, something happened. We're between Texas Roadhouse and getting back home. They switched him out somewhere. Again, we can't say 100%, but there is at least enough suspicious activity that would suggest that there could be something more nefarious that happened directly after Texas Roadhouse. And then add in the sighting of 2 SUVs, one believed to be KK's at this BP here. And, she claims that there's audio of Sebastian in the car, but who's to say she couldn't have had a recording of Sebastian, right? She could have had Sebastian in there for maybe a third of the drive. switched out, and then she could have easily just played a recording, because remember, the camera itself would have been, pointed out the car, towards the road. So, no one would be none the wiser. They would just hear, sounds of Sebastian. So it wouldn't be too hard to try to fool law enforcement into thinking that he was in the vehicle. Yeah, that's a good question. Tincture. But yeah, that's all they would see. This is just an example. Uh, for like a dash cam. I'm sorry. Play that again, but even though the device is technically inside the vehicle with the audio recording, it would have no idea what's going inside the vehicle. Easily could come up on a red light and have a car next to them, and Sebastian get switched out. All right, so we bring that up, and I know we've kind of went over this yesterday, or I'm sorry, Tuesday, but we are going to add more stuff into this.
Pretty late at night. I can't remember if it was like 6 or 7, but it was somewhat late at night. I guess if you don't get your trash out early, you're going to miss 9 o'clock. The lights went out at exactly 9:08 p.m.
Yeah, I think so, Sharon.
Then at one...
Yeah, because she's not supposed to be around kids. And so, yeah. I don't think she'd be able to be around I mean, yeah, any kids, technically. Even though there's a video of her, like, some kind of, like, singing happy birthday to a child. Yeah. Anyway, so just a few snippets from the neighbor across the street that observed, that night.
Trash out early, you're going to miss 9 o'clock. The lights went out at exactly 9:08 p.m. Then at about 11:45, her light goes out. Katie's light. So the mother's.
And the reason why, now, of course, if this stupid garbage truck, Fish sticks in this, fascination with garbage trucks. I know we keep going back to sending him a garbage truck for his birthday, but a Temu version, right? We can't give him a Tonka. He needs a Temu since he's a Temu PI. But the reason why she was be able to see these lights at the home is because the porch light wasn't on. The porch light was on. They probably her camera probably wouldn't have picked up, because every time a light kicks on and off, because it's now into nighttime mode, any white light or motion is going to activate it. And so that's why she was capturing this stuff. And she even said to Sweetie that she thought it was odd that, normally the porch light isn't off. So anyway, that will obviously come full circle to what she did that night. Allegedly, of course.
You're going to miss 9 o'clock. The lights went out at
approximately 15 minutes before he took the trash out. And he is on video, and the FBI was able to clear it up and confirm that it's him, even though you can tell it's.
And here's just one more thing, and I pointed this out yesterday, but she literally shoots herself in the foot by saying this, and I think it's hilarious.
Was the living room light on, the garage light on?
Right here. Just a small clip from the Heather Cohen interview with Chris and Katie. I might need to turn up my heat here in a second.
Definitely. And we went home straight from Texas Roadhouse. And we were home for approximately 15 minutes before he took the trash out.
And again, another question is why 15 minutes? Like, you're pulling in, the trash can's right there. Why didn't you just stop and let him out while you park in and have him pull the trash can out? And we saw him in jeans and a t-shirt, yet now he's going to come out 15 minutes later in a hoodie. But that's not the biggest thing. It's what she says here.
He is on video, and the FBI was able to clear it up and confirm that it's him. Even though you can tell it's him from a mile away because of how he runs. It's just, you can tell from his mannerisms. The second you look at it, it's him running, but still.
Okay. So he took the trash about 15 minutes, and that was about what time was that?
Don't know exactly off the top of our head.
You don't know, but you just got done mentioning that you watched the surveillance video, which would have had the timestamp on it. That just shows you why would they need to be shady about this, right? Why are they worried about the particular time frame? It does make me wonder if her 15 minutes could also mean that, it took her a little bit longer to get back from Texas Roadhouse to the home. There could be a multitude of things, but again, back to Crispy comes in and says, we don't know off the top of our head yet. And this interview was done about a month and a half after he went missing. I think this was like late March, early April. And this is technically the last sighting of your son. I mean, on camera anyway. And you can't remember the timestamp? Well, she says because he's running, right? But they said they cleared it up. Again, there's only so much you can do. Even with the FBI, there's only so much they can kind of clean up. And if it was him, I think we would have seen like a screenshot come out, in my opinion. If they could identify him definitively, just in my experience, not to say I'm an expert, at least with true crime, a lot of times we see like their last known, picture, photo, whatever. I mean, not all the time, but yeah, I think that says a lot. Okay. So, before we get to the 3 a.m. and new details, just to kind of go along with this scenario, again, not to say that we know for a fact that he didn't make it there, and there's a lot of evidence that, raises a lot of issues, but here's something that I'm going to kind of add in that will make sense a little bit later, but they left at 6:25, right? 18:24. Just over an hour later, at the cemetery, there's a bunch of activity going on. There's nothing before, and there's nothing really after until 3 a.m., although I haven't seen it all because I don't have it all, but there seems to be some strange activity as if maybe they're meeting up, dropping stuff off. I think they could, and it appears there could be two vehicles. There's one for sure that we see, but I think there could be two vehicles there. And I do wonder if at this point, now, again, I want to try to stay positive and say that, he's still alive, especially at this point. And, they had a new pair of clothes for him. And so they got his clothing and they got that into like some kind of duffel bag or something. That'll come important. That'll come about a little bit later about one of the things we heard. So something like that. Again, just speculating. That is the stadium light. Just, it's one of the biggest ones, and because it's just pointed towards the camera, obviously it blows up bigger than the other ones. It does go out. Keep in mind, it's a Sunday night. As far as I know, there was no game or anything going on there. Actually, I'm pretty sure there was nothing going on. But yeah, we see vehicle, at least a vehicle, but it does appear there could be two. Perhaps getting set up, perhaps had his clothing, whatever, and having that ready to bring it by later. Sensei, are you talking about the garbage truck, Sensei? If you are, it was that one I was showing with the garbage truck. We only have a screenshot because SF released that. It was off that camera, so it's the camera that's across the street that faces. They're kind of kitty corner to the Proud Puts, but and it was their camera that supposedly got captured it. Judy, we'll get to that. Again, we keep in mind this case evolved, and we never, we only had tidbits, and so we had a lot of it, we had to speculate around. And again, with what I'm going to present, don't let that deter you. If you think he made it home, there's certainly a possibility he made it home. So please, but I will, address that in this scenario. But some of the stuff that I'm going to bring up, I'll tell you what speculation or what we know is to be more fact-based. But the whole clothing thing that I've been talking about, that's important, right? Because remember, his shoes made it back home, and we think they would have probably brought all of his clothing, his pants, his shirt, to try to prove that, he made it home. If that makes sense. So, moving on. And here, I'm going to go full screen real quick so I can turn up the heat a little bit. The sun's going down and it's getting a little bit colder. I can't believe I was running the AC literally, I think, yesterday. But I'm going to go turn up the heat for just a second. But yeah. So I'm going to let this play. And again, now we're going to get into more fact-based stuff. And new stuff that, again, so take this as kind of like part 3 of the 3 a.m. video breakdown. So, and I promise you there's some very interesting stuff. Okay, I'm back. So now we move to 3 a.m., right? So maybe they set up, around 8 p.m., I guess that would be, right? Because they got about 6:30 and it was 7:50. And we play this little clip from Crispy because, again, we've always kind of talked about how Crispy tends to, even though he's, a real piece of work, but whenever he's telling stories, it seems like there's always a little bit of truth somewhere in there. And here he is, and he literally nailed this part.
His answer.
What do you?
Yeah, KV, you came just at a good time. So no worries, and good to see you, KV.
You all think happened to little Sebastian?
Sebastian walked out of the house. Either it was planned or he was lured out of the house or something triggered him to leave out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that he said it was planned, that just, kind of also clearly, if they were allegedly involved, this was clearly well in advance planned. So there he is, partially telling the truth.
And walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to Long Hole Pike, and he got picked up in a car, and they headed westbound on Long Hole Pike. Either it was planned or he was lured out of the house. Or
He's
something
likely not
triggered him
far
to leave
off
out
from
of
the truth,
house.
but notice he carefully took his time to say Long Hollow.
Walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to Long Hole Pike, and he got picked up in a car, and they headed westbound on Long Hole Pike.
Okay, I think this part was supposed to be clipped out. Okay, here we go. So now we move to just before 3 a.m. We're at 2:58 a.m. now, right? So you could say either they moved Sebastian and or his clothing over there at the cemetery because they knew they needed to get that back to prove that he made it home, because obviously his shoes were there. But now we move more into parts that we do know. Again, this is where, it's up to, what you think, whether he made it home or not. But this part is more fact-based because we have video of it. And of course, there's more stuff that I'm going to share. It's kind of towards the end of the 3 a.m. stuff, but I promise you it's going to be very interesting. Remember how I said, I think they put the clothing in some kind of bag or duffel bag or whatever. That's very important. I promise you. So at 2:58 and 8 seconds, and we tagged that, and that's important. And we're looking at Long Hollow Pike right here. And to the right is Kellen Ave, 50 yards away from the entrance. And so we're going to timestamp that. That's very important. And then we see the car come up. And then we take a timestamp and we do this to see the difference. But as it comes into this camera, when it hits this first part of the frame, we take another timestamp. So that is at 2:58 and 54 seconds. So that's a difference of 46 seconds that it was on Long Hollow to when it was right here. Now, this is real important. Now, Silver Sedan does its little 3-point turn up at the top of the cul-de-sac, and we wait for it to come back, where we will take another timestamp and then do basically the same thing, just the other way around. Now, I kind of put it up ahead of time, but at 2:59 and 35 seconds, we take a timestamp at that. And then we see a vehicle at literally 3 a.m. and 30 seconds going eastbound. And there's only 3 cars that go eastbound between 3 and 4 a.m. And that's the first one. And so we look at the difference, and it took an extra 9 seconds after we saw it leave this. So after it left this frame and before it got to Long Hollow, it took an extra 9 seconds versus it coming up. And keep in mind, it's actually going downhill as well. So this part is a little bit more theory based that's coming up. But I think I have a reason why. So Silver's on the scene. God bless him. Huge shout out to him. I'm pretty sure I've got a link to his channel in the description. I hope. But here's a reenactment of what the silver sedan would have been doing. But I think as it came down the hill, there is a home. And it's coming up. You'll see a white truck. That is, we call Carly's home. Again, we use nicknames for, legal reasons. But they are the ones that neighbor behind the stink feet. Now, I think at this point, the extra 9 seconds, as it slowed down, did some kind of high beam or flashed its lights towards the Carly home, and that alerted Carly. So I think they slowed down. They alerted them somehow. And then when Carly was alerted, then we have a picture of his surveillance and what it looked like through his backyard. And this is the Stink Feet home. And we can see that there's plantation windows, that blinds that are up. And Katie could easily have been standing, in one of these windows and waiting for the go ahead. And there could have been another signal, say a flashlight, Morse code. And they were alerted. Now, the reason I think this is...
I had been...
And so I played this clip because, and I could grab a bunch of them. This one I think is a big one. But she always tries to reinforce, and I wish I could find the other one, which I think is on Duchess, that hindsight had reminded me of. And that is that she always likes to mention that she's fallen asleep.
Reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed, and that's what I did. I got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to come back to Carly, of course. So then Silver Sedan is seen, obviously, we just showed it going eastbound back towards the cemetery direction. And then, what do you know? Literally, and we're talking 3 minutes on the spot.
Either it was planned or it was...
3 minutes on the spot. Remember, it was at 3 a.m. and 30 seconds. And we're going to see a new vehicle come at 3:03 and 28 seconds. So almost 3 minutes apart. Exactly. Here comes
lured out of the house, or something triggered him to leave out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle.
And walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to Long Hole Pike, and he got picked up in a car, and they headed westbound on Long Hole Pike.
Wow.
What's eerie is
so we see the vehicle at 3:03 and 28 seconds. So we take that timestamp, and then we use Silver's on the scene again.
And she just missed the turn, but no problems. Here we go.
Now, even though they're coming the other way, because she was, Silver's too, did actually come from, was heading west. She unfortunately missed it. But no worries. I just kind of calculated approximately 50 yards just from the other way. And then I timed it.
So we're going to take it kind of slow through the neighborhood. So I'm dropping down the window now. Okay.
And so I used that
About 10 miles. You probably go 10 miles an hour. Maybe even 20.
time.
It's a little, yeah, we go a little faster. You're not going to turn. You're
And that would be 42 seconds until it reaches the three-way of Stafford and Kellen. And I let it go a little bit past the turn, which is right there.
So just there are
there's the sign.
Start with that. Okay.
So I let it go a little bit after, just to kind of make up for it taking a left turn. And so we add those 42 seconds on. And so this right here, even though we've kind of shown this reinforces that subject 1 and 2 were already there.
from extended family members.
And then the other question, and the reason why I say I think they were signaled, is how would they know that subject 1 and 2 were moving, that this car was coming? I doubt they would be using cell phone, right? Think they were at least smart enough not to use those. And so, how would they know that this vehicle is coming unless that silver sedan had signaled them?
Have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues. We have had several clues.
Now, I'll be coming up on some new information that I hadn't talked about before in the previous 2 times that we broke this down. So we take that 3:04 and 10 seconds that we're at and notice that the motion light gets triggered because now we can see the trim of the white truck in the driveway, which is very important. And then from there, I just count the seconds of this video. Now I kind of shorten it, but it is, I believe, 17 seconds from when this motion light starts. So I count the 17 seconds of that video. I think I could have probably cut this part out. But yes, I think 17 seconds. Subject 1 moving. This is normal speed. And we know that the car had turned when it set off the motion. I think what it tried to do is it had all its lights off, and as it turned on to Stafford, I think it thought maybe because it had all of its lights off and turning on to Stafford that it wouldn't set off the motion sensor, but it could easily be, even with the lights off, it's got a lot of different reflective things on a car that it could have easily captured a multitude of things, but whatever it was, it set it off. And we can see right when it sets off, we can see where we can continue where subject 1's already off frame or behind a bush or something, and subject 2 is moving. And so that's 17 seconds. And then I need to make that part longer. Then we go from clip 1 to 2, and that's where there's a lot of stuff that happened. This is where we kind of, there's a little gap that we have to kind of, speculate a little bit. But clearly, when we go to clip 2, the motion sensor is the light, since it had been activated, is now deactivated, meaning that car sat there for 2 minutes waiting. But I think during that meantime, I think KK walked up to it. And it would make sense to utilize that storm drain ditch. Even in this area here, you would be lowered to the ground. She's only 5'5", I think, or something like that. 5'5"? Correct me in the chat. Maybe thinking of a different height. I know it's not more than 5'8". I can't think of her height. Please correct me with the height. But anyway, but I think this is when she was grabbing clothing. Then we have our next video, which is only 4 seconds because they zoom in and pause. But there is a little speck of light, and I'm kind of 50-50 on it. But you do see this little speck of light that pops up for just a second, and it's interesting because it is real close to the vehicle. That this could be as they're finishing up, and maybe some kind of light source kind of reflected through. It's still a possibility. It could just be some kind of pixelation. 5758. Thank you. Okay, 5'5". I'm not sure where I got 5'5" at. It might be, yeah, something else. But thank you. Yeah, so 5758. So yeah, that's a little interesting. And then we add in the 6 seconds. But here's a look at that ditch, which can be up to around like 4 to 5 feet deep, I think, back here. And then it kind of goes to like 3 to 2 feet. But would be, perfect to utilize this ditch to grab. Now, I think in this theory, and there's some stuff to back this up, is that she grabbed a duffel bag, and I'll explain that here in a minute. So we add in the 6 seconds of the car backing up, and then the last bit would be the 13 seconds of the person running back, which adds up to 3:06 and 50 seconds. And again, you could easily add or minus seconds here and there, and you're going to come around about the same time. We pretty much knew, and again, there's a lot of different things I've learned. Most of it I've shared with you, and I'm going to share some new stuff, but there's at least 1 or 2 more things that I know, and it basically told me that either this timestamp that Fish Sticks released was either the beginning of when they ran out, or it was at the end. And so then when I saw the timestamp of 3:03 and 28 seconds of the 3M vehicle coming, I thought, well, let me, do a reenactment and add all the times that we know of, and it lines right up. So I think this is the time, and it just adds in again. I could tell you this is at the end of everything. This timestamp at 3:06 and 51 seconds. Which makes me even more disgusted that SF has put out all of this nonsense, knowing that he had this clip and knowing what he knows is on it. And now that I know what's on it, for the most part, again, like, I haven't seen it, of course, but this is just kind of through talking with old sources, and again, you'll see what I'm talking about as I mention some new things that I haven't mentioned in the last 2 times that I've put this together. But again, SF, the gift that keeps on giving. So, before I reveal some of the new stuff that adds in, and I promise you, at least one of these things you probably have heard of before. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Tim, thank you so much for the PayPal. I appreciate that. As most of you guys know, I always spend hours preparing shows for you guys. Okay. So what could have captured, and this is where I'm going to show you, tell you about some new things. Oh, yes. So this is what's also interesting. So in this video, the first time we see subject 2, and I'm surprised I didn't think about this before, is right there. This is the first time we see subject 2, right? So we draw a line, and that's a static line, right? So that's the same length that I'm going to show in a little bit. And that's the starting point of KK when she's coming out, right? And making her flashlight, headlight, whatever, visible. Now that's real important because when she's running back, there's a big difference. And this goes along with the mistakes that they made. And there's more. Hey, Caroline. Oh, good to see you too. So, oops, I gotta play it here. But as you can see, I'm overlapping the Nick Barris original. Of course, both of them are moving, so it's, I'm trying to fight to keep these both aligned. Again, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't really know, to keep these 2 videos that are moving, because they're at different times. So floodlights, even though they're not moving a lot, but they're still moving around because somebody's recording with a cell phone. So it's not easy to keep these, overlapped with each other because that's really important. But when KK was leaving, clearly being in a rush, probably being out there for 2 minutes, we can see when she ends up back, we put a static line and we can see that she's got her light on much closer to the floodlights than when she had started, meaning that she kept that light on much longer when coming back versus when she came out, being more gingerly and cautious, right? But there's something else, and that's where some new old information that you guys may have heard about, and we're gonna kind of put this together, and it's very interesting. So I'm gonna go full screen so I can kind of show it better. Yeah. So let me go full screen, and I promise you this will be interesting to see what if you guys remember some of these rumors. And again, if you're just coming in, please hit that like button. We need to get this out here. I know the Nancy Guthrie case is getting a lot of attention, but man, I'm telling you, this case could break at any moment. And, we're learning the floodgates are open at this point right now. All right. So that white line the yellow line there, that's the edge of the home. That is Faith's bedroom. So no, that isn't some kind of light source that's independent from the home. That is either maybe some kind of night light that they have in her bedroom, or maybe her front door is open and somehow like the light that's coming from the kitchen or sunroom is shining in there. Or she's got the hall light on that's reflecting in there. But yeah, that's the edge of the home. So I know it's really hard to see, and I can't even really from this make it out. But we know there's kind of a gap between the two homes, and then there's the home that's on the corner with the floodlights. And this is really exciting, this part, and this is something that we heard back in the day, but now we can kind of piece this more together. So again, I think KK, when running back, was in a rush and set off this person's camera. And there was some kind of light source, I'm assuming, that was caught on this camera. But there's even more to this, which is interesting, that goes along with the house on the corner that we heard a long time ago. So there's that space, right? So there is, now we're kind of looking almost the opposite way. That surveillance camera, that's the Carly backyard. Obviously the Proudfoot home. That yellow line would have been right here, right? So we have this little open space, and clearly she ran much further along where it got caught on the camera that captured this little opening. But there was something else that this home on the right had captured. Now, do you guys ever remember? I'm sure a lot of you have, for those that have been with following this case. Do you guys remember when there was rumors about a camera capturing somebody with something slumped over their shoulder? Do you guys remember that? Sorry, I'm a little bit ahead of chat, so I'm gonna wait for just a second. Maybe I'll read chat for a second, but get caught up real quick. But let me know in the chat there. Oh, Snarky Chris is gonna be released. Let's go, baby. Mama, thank you so much for the continued membership. God bless you. Crispy and KK, you get nervous yet? Choo choo. Karma train is coming. Thank you so much, Deanna. God bless you. Geneva, you got this. Thank you so much, Geneva, for the $5 and just the continued support for so long. Over 3 years support. God bless your soul. Show Poodles with the $5, finishing out the Snarky Chris, who's gonna get unleashed. Thank you so much, Show Poodles. God bless you. So let's read chat. So yeah, a lot of people. You guys, some people know. A lot of people, I sure do. Yeah. So this is where Judy. Yeah, the audio. Yeah, I'm not sure about the audio part. I think that's where maybe some things got combined. Again, I don't claim to know everything, but I think a lot of people know that everything that I say that I know, for more or less 100%, I backed up every time. So that was in part true, But this is what was actually said, is that they had saw a figure. They had kind of gone around their floodlight. So they couldn't actually see who the person was, but they could kind of see the shadow. But they could see something like they were carrying over their one of their shoulders. This actually was legit. The home here, and I think it's okay to talk about because these people have pretty much moved out. They're selling their home. I think they're gone. I'm not 100%, but they did have some surveillance. And what's interesting is they couldn't get their surveillance, like when they were asking for surveillance in the beginning. They went to their home, of course, like the rest, and asked them, "Hey, did you get anything?" And they I don't know if they're just maybe weren't as tech savvy or what, but they couldn't figure out their surveillance. So anyway, days, or I think I heard even up to a week later, law enforcement comes back and they take a look at it. And they said, yeah, you guys kind of caught something. And so they asked what it was. And they said it looked like, and I think they even saw it, I believe. And as I was saying before, they couldn't see who it exactly was, but it appeared that somebody with a flashlight was carrying something over their shoulder. And now, if you think about it, she's got to carry not the shoes, but the clothing. It wouldn't be too far of the stretch of imagination is if it wasn't Sebastian, body, alive or not, but was it a duffel bag that she was carrying over her shoulder? And the other thing is we didn't know, well, the other thing that wasn't mentioned was, when they were coming or going, right? And so when we heard this, in the beginning, it kind of made sense, we knew that there was a vehicle and so, yeah, it kind of made sense. Oh, yeah, she was carrying Sebastian out over his shoulder. But, yeah. And you guys know me. I know there's a lot of wows in there. And I know the people that are saying wows know that, I back up, like I said, I don't claim I know everything. I try to specify when I know something and when I'm more on the speculation side of stuff. But yes, I believe that was the bag of clothing. Again, I can't say for sure, but that makes more sense. And again, if you feel like he made it home and it's the opposite, again, it's still definitely plausible. Still a lot more we don't know, but yeah. I think it was some kind of duffel bag that was taken from the car of his clothing, and she ran back, and she was not only captured on the car surveillance, Carly's surveillance, but theirs as well. Oh, thank you, Post. That means a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, Michelle, where that surveillance is something I've been meaning to do, and I may be able to get that question answered or close to it. But yeah, sorry, I dropped something. yeah, some of the stuff that, we heard back in the day, it's kind of like the telephone game, or, there was some kind of truth to it. It just kind of got twisted. You know what I mean? And so now that we're kind of slowly being able to put this together, along with, there's a few little tidbits. Again, I know people hate when I say I know there's a few more things that I know, and in due time, I will reveal them when that time's appropriate. And then you add in the fact that she had her porch light off, and we've always been trying to kind of figure out where did she come from. And that light right there, oops, can't see it quite right here. I think I zoom in on it. This light right here may actually have been the light that I'm not 100% sure on this. This is a little bit on the speculation. This could have been the light that she kind of worked around when she came back in through the front door. I'm not 100% on that. That's a little bit more on the speculation, but yeah, that's why she had the porch lights off, is because she was coming from into that front door. Which again, Occam's razor makes the most sense. And yeah, when I heard that, and again, I had written that down and remembered that, and then spoke with, kind of an old source and kind of cleared that up. I'm like, and then now, with learning new stuff in the past week or so, it was like, oh, now we had this little puzzle piece that was kind of got twisted a little bit, that somebody's body was being carried over the shoulder, but we didn't really know it was a body. And, as a stretch of imagination, that when she was coming back, she had like a duffel bag of his clothing as she was coming back, and was caught on her camera. And as you can see here in Silver's video, and as we mentioned before, the neighbor said they always had their front porch light on, but just that, is it just a coincidence that the night he goes missing, the front porch light isn't on? Michelle, the carrying back. So after she went to the vehicle, as she was running back, that this occurred with the bag. I cannot say that like 100% the story of that is true. There's a slim possibility it could be reverse. I will give you that, right? I'm always trying to be honest with you guys, right? But it makes more sense that it was more likely when she was coming back. But again, if you feel like he made it home and you feel like they moved him to the car, it's still possible. But I don't think so. And Mick, thank you so much for the PayPal. Oh, I appreciate that. You guys are so awesome. Of course, I wouldn't be anything without you guys. I know I say that almost every live, but it's just something I'll never forget. This channel I would just be nothing without you guys. And then the other thing to kind of back up, that she came through the front door, which we've kind of gone over, but For anybody that's missed it, they had the keypad lock and they had an app for it, and this keeps a log record of every time the door opens and closes. And there was a particular agency in the beginning that was helping them, a pretty big group that is well known. And they were speaking with particular Katie, and they had a conversation about, getting the info off her app about the door, the logs. And the second they had that conversation, she ghosted them. And then also you kind of an argument, would KK risk taking Sebastian out the front door, incapacitated or not? Again, not to say it's not impossible. It's certainly a scenario that, we can't say 100% didn't happen, right? But you got to think of all the negative variables that could happen, whether he's being escorted, at 3 o'clock in the morning, that he would just run off in the middle of this, and then carrying him again. She's, I think she could carry him. She, I think that's definitely possible, but you just kind of add it all together. I think it leans towards a scenario that he didn't make it home, and that what was allegedly slumped over her shoulder was some kind of bag of some sort. But that part comes from a pretty reliable source, and remember, it was out there. It just, I think it got kind of misconstrued with, something over his shoulder, and it made sense. A body, live, him passed out or whatever. I'm saying, when I say body, it doesn't mean he's deceased, but and it made sense for the time when we had much less information. Oh, that's right. Dan and Resin. Yeah, remember the skipping to the mailbox? I don't think I remember hearing about he couldn't get into the front door. Do you know where I can find that clip, or where would that was said? I know most of what you're saying is, yeah, because that came from the neighbor across the street that told Sweetie Pilo. Gosh, I forgot about he could get through the front door. That's interesting. I know, Brenda. Exactly. This is why, one of the many reasons why we're fighting. To really keep this story out there, even though Nancy Guthrie has taken a lot of the spotlight. And again, that's just how social media and algorithms work. It's nobody's fault, right? But it's just wild, because if Nancy Guthrie, if that wasn't going on right now, I think this case would be garnering much more attention. More people would be covering these, in my opinion, bombshells that are coming out. But let me get caught up in chat. We got a few more things, and then we'll unrelease Snarky Chris to finish off. And there's just a few things that I just want to share to good old Fish Sticks and Crabtree, and also address that reward. One of my theories about that reward, why she doesn't want it to go up. So those will be my last points, but I just can't help but play this because, we pretty much know. I'm telling you, we know, allegedly, but we know who was doing what. And here's just that clip of the question being asked, and just look at her face.
Question I have is recently Channel 5 in Nashville, they had security footage that showed two flashlights the night he disappeared. Is there anything that you think about this video? Or
Sure. So there's a lot of speculations about that video that are floating on the internet. Okay, and that is exactly what it is. It's speculations. Now, what I can give you an official statement on is TBI Newslink has released a statement from law enforcement, between local law enforcement, state law enforcement, some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over that everything that everybody is trying to assume is a flashlight, I hate to say this, it's not. As much as we would love it to be one, it's not. I'm not going to go into details as far as where that video is shot from.
Of course not, because it's going right into your backyard. I wouldn't, or, not backyard, but side yard.
But I can tell you, as the parents, we have seen the video firsthand from law enforcement. We know exactly where it was taken from. And nothing that is being assumed right now is actually true about that video, unfortunately.
And this just leans more towards, like the Amber Alert and why they didn't release that unknown car that didn't have a license plate is because, in this theory that he never made it home, well, he was never moved to that vehicle, so they couldn't use that vehicle, even though I still think they should have released that vehicle. I think it was dumb. But, yeah.
And anything about any other video?
Then she takes a look like, after the question's done, oh, did they believe me?
And anything about any other video?
Did they believe that? Crispy? Liz, thank you so much. Katie, we know we know. We know. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you, Chris, for not forgetting about Sebastian. It is my pleasure. And again, without your guys' amazing support. So a few more things. Yeah. Again, it's possible he could have been in one of those vehicles, I certainly think it's plausible. Right. I mean, this is going on right near your home. And, again, if you're innocent, you want every little detail out there. But we've gone over that. So here's here's another little tidbit. This is not as big as Bombshell, but this was interesting. I forgot. So again, there was these little quotes and things that, again, my four notebooks worth, they're all in there somewhere of, because I don't record my conversations with my sources. I would never betray my sources like that. So I write things down and make sure what I can say is appropriate. But anyway, this screenshot that was released by Crabtree, actually, let me play this part first, and then we'll come back to this.
Okay, that would have been on Monday morning. At about 6:20. Okay,
let me turn this down here. So Carly had said, and even at the vigil, he went around saying that he didn't capture anything on his camera, right? And then what I forgot that he also said on top of that is that he said he only captured a cat running across his camera. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, apparently he said, yeah, I didn't get anything except a cat running across my yard early in the morning. Good old Fluffy again. And thank God for Fluffy, because this is taking like a couple hours later, showing that Katie's bedroom light is now off. Everything, all, the lights that were on a few hours earlier, which, just goes to show you that, her lights are on around the time that flashlights are going on, right? So I completely forgot about that until I was reminded. So, yeah, the vigil, yeah. If that's what you're asking about. But then quickly, snarky Chris here. Oh, and then one last thing is that, remember how Crispy said that he believed that Sebastian got picked up on Long Hollow and they went westbound. Well, when we
out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and
so we know that finished up at basically 3:07, right? It was 3:06 and 51 seconds. And if we look,
walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to Long Hole Pike,
there's no vehicles.
and he got picked up in a car, and they headed westbound on Long Hole Pike.
Wow.
And what do you know? As we go through this, there will not be another car until 3:15, and it's coming westbound. And that's long after that car would have gone. So, and of course, we can only see looking north, the east part from Kellen Ave. So yeah, when that car left, it went westbound. So again, there's Crispy telling us the truth, like, mixed with all the BS. There he is. So just to finish up, just a little bit of snarky Chris, and we'll finish up here.
So I'm using Grok. It's been updated.
Let me play this part real quick, but this is the unhinged real side of fish sticks. But I'm just gonna bury him here in just a second.
It's a great AI system.
Right.
Gives you a lot of detailed information. You can do deep dive searches on it.
What you want it to say,
Explains a
it'll tell you
lot.
whatever
How it's coming to the conclusions that it does.
Because you gave it the conclusions.
It's truly amazing.
It is, right, in your mind.
So again,
but it's really
I fed it the distances, right? And so I asked it between.
That's pretty good, guys.
The other thing
That's
I also
funny,
did. So I gave it an X and a Y, right? Because you need an X and a Y access to kind of get an idea to feed the algorithm. I also told the algorithm the distance between the red circle and the yellow circle. So now it knows
in the red circle and the yellow circle. You told it that it was a flashlight, and you told it was a headlight and a taillight. Why didn't you just analyze what are these, like we did? And that it came back with a flashlight, and it came back with a fixed mounted light. It can do that based on pixel level detection, but you didn't use it that way. You told it to back you up. So what I did is I went in the Grok, because later in your live you showed this screenshot. You're like, I took out all the information I gave it, no headlight and a taillight. Well, because Grok remembers who's Groked it. I gave it use a military or surveillance context. such as FLIR, not the case here. The purple circle highlights an object that is emitting or reflecting heat, which is captured as infrared light. In thermal imaging, brighter areas typically indicate warmer temperatures. So the object in the circle is likely emitting infrared light due to its heat signature. This type of light is visible to the human eye, but can be detected by specialized sensors. Invisible to the human eye. This type of light.
This type of light is invisible to the human eye.
Light is invisible to the human eye. Now, let's just say for a second, because I've been wanting to bring this up to you, but I don't want to talk to you. Let's just say, because
God, how old are you? Oh my!
I've been here many times. Okay, to this exact location. Let's just say that is a headlight. Tell me what car you have ever ridden in Mob Crew where the headlight right here supposedly has a throw pattern that just ignores the first 10 or 12 feet. Like, it just, and then just throws light and begins like 12 feet out. So wouldn't that be fun to drive around in a car and be like, okay, I can't see anything in the first 10 or 12 feet in front of me, but my headlights start way out here. You turn your headlights on and it immediately illuminates the ground. That is actually by law. They have to do that. They have to be a certain throw pattern. I mean,
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points.
And I am so sorry about that. But here we go. Snarky Chris to finish up here. So yeah, these yeah, you tell him, Arnold. These just wonderful people here. So invested, and you know, Mr. Grifter, always grifting, right? Well, and of course, you know, he loves to take a picture of my thumbnail and do some kind of tweet and nonsense, right? His typical thing. And
not
trying to find
the things that you.
So here we go. He had this video. He had the motion clips for this one. And again, I know more or less what's on it. And the fact that he has had this along with Crabtree, and they know that not only is there nothing going on at 3:06 or 51 seconds, but it literally confirms that there is a light moving back towards the Stinkfeet home. They have known that since this was released. I think he got this footage probably somewhere in December, January ish. So December 2024, January of 2025. So he has had this well over a year, and he has known, and I'm telling you right now, he has known this entire time since he's grabbed this footage what was on it. And this piece of shit has continued to go after Seth, go after content creators, and of course he's been after my butt because he knows that I am on the right track. He showed up in my chat last week. That is no coincidence because I'm getting closer and closer to the truth. And that worries him because, I mean, he even tried to take my channel down, right? He even tried to take my channel down. Of course, he did it in a way that, you know, I mean, he was on the verge of a major lawsuit doing that. But the fact that he knows everything that I just told you, he knows. There's no joke. There's no like, maybe he's a little naive. No, he knows what's on this. I know what's on this. So it makes me so sick to my stomach that this piece of garbage has continued to do this charade for over a year and a half when he knows what's on this. And not only that, but Crabtree as well, who we just saw, post a second ago. I was trying to put them together. But Crabtree as well. And have you guys wondered why Crabtree took down all this stuff? Apparently he privated it. I think one of my theories is I think one of the reasons why Crabtree privated his stuff. Again, I didn't watch 99% of his videos, but I've seen some of them that we used, obviously. I think part of the reason is because he knows the storm is coming, and there could be things that could be used against him. And with fish sticks, I know he's tried to infiltrate my group and allegedly tried to find information about me, and I think that drives him nuts. To try to scare me. Again, that's one of the tactics, trying to take my channel down. All this this is no coincidence. The timing of everything that's going down. Crabtree taking his stuff down, saying, he's saying one thing, the reason why he's doing that, and then yet a week later he's flying off the handle, cursing me. And then the last thing is Carly and the reward. The thing I also wanted to address is because if you think about the scenario with Carly, if Sebastian never made it home, and if he was just there to maybe kind of help guide Katie, right? But wasn't, directly involved in, the abduction, but more of thinking the term accessory after the fact. Again, the law side of things, that's not my forte, but you guys know what I'm saying. He's still reliable to some extent, right? But I think one of the reasons why they don't want that reward up there is because there's definitely a multitude. I think most of them, in my opinion, are family members. So, family members are going to stick together. But someone like Carly, who has been seen doing funky stuff ever since Sebastian went missing. Vigil is just the beginning. He's been spotted multiple times in weird places. Obstruction of justice, yeah, that's one. And I think one of the people to flip, because remember, the first one to talk, first one to walk, would be him. But I can tell you, and then on top of that, remember Fish Sticks in one of the interviews with Laura Lodge, you said, I'm not obligated to turn over what I've got to the law enforcement, right? Which again, I don't know what he could be held responsible for, but I know the reputation. I guarantee you, when that day comes, I will be right there, ready to, because his bed is made. You made your choices. You took that money. And that's what pisses me off so much now, after learning so much in the last 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, really, that he has known this all along. And the fact that he uses this word grifter, and he has the nerve to say that he was hired and that Sebastian is his client, and the fact that he did anything but use that money that that was paid to him to help Sebastian. He did the absolute opposite. The absolute opposite. And it makes me sick to my stomach. And I think he knows, no matter how many people he saves from now until this case, whenever it breaks, and it will, he knows that this will come back to bite his ass hard. And in my opinion, because of the way he knew that Bobby's neighbor's son had nothing to do with it, he probably, in my opinion, if the scenario he never made it home, the fact that he would go after Bobby's neighbor, and if all that comes out, if it was me, I'm sure there would be some lawyers that would love to pick up. Again, I don't want to speak for them, but man, I would sue the effing pants off him for what he has done. To put a teenager and their family in danger when he knew the entire time they had absolutely nothing to do with this, right? Sorry for my rambling on, but I'm just saying, these people are scared, and man, if you guys only knew, there's more. If you're wondering why, it seems like the stink feet, disappear for the most part. If we go off of what they did last year, where they were rarely home, and it seems like they're doing the same thing this year. Makes me wonder: are they getting ready to go on the run? You know what I mean? Did they got their are they setting up? Again, just speculating, allegedly, right? But yeah, so thank you, Sasha. I appreciate that. Yes, for PI license. Yeah, there's a lot of fishy stuff with fish sticks. There's a reason why we came up with fish sticks, right? Not just Fisher, but yeah. But anywho, I'll finish there because we're kind of going a little bit longer. But I do appreciate Patty saying SF full of doo doo, and he knows it. He knows it. And he knows this case, when it breaks, he's gonna be in trouble. And yeah. Poppy Love, thank you so much for the membership. And Amber Robinson? Sorry, it's a little small. It's at the bottom there. Good evening, everyone. I'm always late, laugh out loud. Fashionably late. That's okay. Hopefully you'll catch, if you get time, maybe you can catch the highlights. But yeah, we'll finish there. I had a few other things, but I kind of started late. But yeah, I am going to try to do a video where I do this breakdown with, some of the new material. And, because there's a lot of people that like the short stuff. And then, unless something breaks, in the next 2 days, I think we may take a break from Sebastian. Of course, Sebastian's always going to be there, but maybe cover Nancy Guthrie just to kind of mix it up, right? But I just want to thank all my wonderful mods. God bless you guys. I think I'm working on short videos tomorrow, so I don't think I'll go live unless there's something kind of big. So probably be back Thursday. Probably be back Saturday, most likely. They could be. CP looks like a runner. Yeah. Just hope they're not, using those disabled vets to take up people's handicaps parking spaces, man. That'd be messed up. Oh, I missed this one at the end. Great live, Chris. Thanks to all. Thanks so much for the awesome mods. Take care, all. Couldn't say it better. Thank you, South Oz. Again, I am so fortunate to have the mods that I do. I could never express my gratitude. All right, guys. We'll play a pet outro. I've got 2 pets, so maybe if you are, this is only for the members. I cannot emphasize this enough, just for the members. But if you are a newer member and you got a pet photo you would like to send in, send it to my email. Because we do a pet outro for the members. Again, that's just be a perk for the members. So with that, I'm going to play the pet outro, and I hope you guys have, happy Easter, just in case we don't see you. But we will be live hopefully before then. But yeah, much love to you guys. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're at, and we will see you guys very soon. God bless you guys.
I got you in my sight. I keep all of what you said to me. I get you,